Hey everybody, Steve here with Local Level Podcast. I'm sitting here with Jeremy Balek of City Limits Harley Davidson of Palatine at 2015 North Rand Road, and you can check them out at citylimitshd.com. So Jeremy, I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And we were just talking that you have an event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
October 26th, we're having the Wicked Burger Bash. There's 6 local restaurants from around the state of Illinois that are going to be competing. There will be a People's Choice and a Judge's Choice. It's going to be $30 per ticket per participant, to get involved. Participant, thank you. That'll get you 6 samples of the burgers, and it'll get you a beer ticket. And it'll also give you a raffle ticket as well. The restaurants will be raffling off gift cards. City Limits Harley Davidson will also be raffling off a gift card that day. It's all ages. Bring your dogs, bring your kids, bring everybody. The food's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm not allowed to talk about any of the burgers yet. It's all top secret, but it should be awesome. Plus the 2020 Harley Davidson motorcycles will be there on display. They will be available for test ride if the weather permits it. All the new colors are in stock. So, please come on down, check it out, and have a great way to, finish up October and Halloween.
Awesome. Definitely check that out. We'll put the information in the description below. But Jeremy, so tell me a little bit about Harleys. Harley Davidson, it has a whole culture behind it. What does Harley Davidson mean to you?
What does Harley Davidson mean to me? Harley Davidson culture is the right word. I mean, the motorcycles, of course, are amazing and beautiful. But the one thing in the 4 years that I've been in this business is the people that are involved in this business are so passionate about it, whether it's the riders or the people that work there, the people that just come in off the street, whether you're a first-time rider or you've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
There's just such a camaraderie. Everybody you meet, if they're wearing a T-shirt, they have a bike, you already have something in common and something to talk about. And, everybody wants to talk about it. It's a very, very unique thing. It's very, very cool, actually. I can compare it to heavy metal music. All metalheads seem to somehow know each other. They see each other. You make the comment about their shirts, the band shirts, that's just another way to describe how Harley Davidson is, or a simple way to describe it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty safe to say, like, across the room, you can tell who's a rider. If they got a shirt on or whatever, you have something in common. They're friendly.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And so you're working at Harley Davidson. You're a manager of sales, correct?
Correct.
And so tell me a little bit about how you got into this. You started to ride at what age?
I bought my first bike when I was 27. I bought my first Harley when I was 30.
Nice. And so what drew you to Harley? Because I know you when we were talking before, you said you were in the restaurant business. Can you tell us a little bit about the transition before to where you're at now? So
the restaurant business I got into when I was 20. I waited tables, I bartended. I got into management in my late 20s, and I did that for a long time. Harley was always just something that I was infatuated with. I always loved motorcycles. When I was a little kid, my dad had a Honda 750. He used to have a seatbelt that would go around me and him. He'd have me on the gas tank, and he'd take me for rides. Nice. So, those are my earliest motorcycle memories. And then as I got older, I always, just loved the idea, the brand. I love the image. I love the sound. Just, everything about it was just amazing. So, after 20 years in the restaurant business, I loved it for a long time, but 20 years was long enough. I was trying to figure out what to do next. And the general manager of City Limits at the time offered me a position to be a sales guy. And I'd never done it before, but I knew, I had a passion for the brand. I had a lot of experience, with hospitality, so taking care of people. It kind of was very, very similar, because that's what you do when you sell bikes. You make a friend, you just take care of people. So that's how I got involved. Yeah. And there's a lot of similarities, like you were saying, in the restaurant business, hospitality type of stuff, that customer service, being genuine, and in any sales, really, it's all about just being honest and sincere and real. That's, people can smell the fakeness. Oh, sure.
Deceit. Nobody likes that. Commission breath.
Right.
So.
I've heard that one. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a real one. I was
I'm going to use that
a long time, for sure. It's a real thing. Trust me. So it's nice because when we were talking before, you were saying that there's a much different feeling, dynamic from like a car dealership to a Harley showroom. and there's a distinction between dealership and showroom. Can you explain what that is?
The cool thing about the Harley dealerships, and Harley's been working on this for a long time, from the Harley Owners Group to just the way the dealerships themselves are designed. They're set up to be a destination.
Yeah.
It's a car dealership. You go in with something when you need a new car or something's broken with your car. They're a necessity. That's just how that is. Right. At a Harley shop, people come in every single weekend to have some popcorn, get a cup of coffee, meet other friends to go on a group ride. We have events like we're having on the 26th. You have parties, you have gatherings. That goes back to the culture. Yes.
Yeah. And because I'm not a rider. I have people kind of by proxy. I know of it,
right.
But I haven't. It's something that is on my bucket list. But I know that there's so much camaraderie, and like we were saying, the culture is something that's like as American as apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about the chapters? I know every dealership has its own kind of chapter and rider groups and stuff like that. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
So the Harley Owner Group, I believe started like in the early 80s. This was Harley's brainchild.
Yeah.
And the way they run today is every dealership has its own chapter. Some of them are very involved. Some of them they get signed up when they buy a motorcycle and they really never do anything with it. The one in Palatine specifically, they're very involved in charity events. They're very involved. They're a big riding group. I think their average year is something like 60 plus rides per year that they put together, and they go on together as a group.
Like sanctioned rides
that are for they're for the Harley group.
Yeah.
I've been with City Limits on off for 4 years. The ones that have been there are still there. They're great people. They have their meetings once a month at Edmonds Pub and Palatine.
Wow.
They have their road captain meetings at the dealership once a month, and just they're into it. It's all about riding the motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like joining a club. Just by getting a Harley, you're in a club, whether you signed up on paper or not.
Exactly.
So that's nice to see that there's kind of the support, and that's something that's really different. You don't see sure, you hear the Ford or the Chevy, like, oh, I'm team this and that, but it's not like Harley. It's different. It's not like a group of people go and ride their Fords.
Right.
Right. So yeah, that's an interesting dynamic there. And so the sad part about that, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the older generations are much more passionate about Harley and the culture for probably a couple reasons. Probably just because there's a cost involved.
Sure.
But then, I think that the culture may have changed a little bit. The younger generation seems to not be as enthused as the Harley of old, the older generation. Why do you think that is?
I don't think Harley or us have found a way to grab onto them, or as many of them as we did in previous generations. When I grew up, Harley and the Marlboro Man was a movie.
Right.
10 years before that was Easy Rider. There was always something, when you were a kid, you saw that it sparked something that made you want to get a bike. Yes.
Symbol of freedom.
Rebellion, freedom, the whole thing. And there's that things change. Cultures have changed. It's not, I don't think people see that the way that they used to. I think there's a way to get them. I think there's a way to bring them in. I think Harley's actually working on that. Things like Project Livewire, which is the all-electric motorcycle, which has been released this year.
I wanted to talk about that too.
And other stuff coming down the road. They're coming up with ways. They're not sitting in their little hole going, okay, we only make V-twin Harleys and that's all we're going to make.
Why aren't people buying them?
Right, exactly.
Right.
The V-twins are going to be around for a long time. Guys like me, we're still going to have our motorcycles. We're still going to have our loud bikes. But, the next generation may be more excited about, getting involved in something else. And the price point, the only thing I could say about the price point on the motorcycles is they've always been too expensive. It's just,
it's a luxury.
Exactly.
It's a luxury. People don't, I'm sure there's people that ride during the snow time. It's probably not safe, but
a friend of mine does. Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest.
Actually, how I met him.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he stood out, I'm sure. Yeah. But, it's a secondary thing. It's like buying a boat,
right.
or something like that. It's a luxury thing. It's, so Yeah, I mean, I understand that aspect, but it's always been like that.
Right.
Especially in this climate. In a different climate, like Southern California, you can ride it all
year round. Yep.
But Sturgis is in one of the coldest climates in the nation.
It's amazing, isn't it? Middle of nowhere, too.
Right. So, there's definitely something to that. Now, I don't know exactly what it is with the culture, why that changed, because I feel like, there's that same kind of counterculture almost happening now, where people are rebellious, like political type of whatever.
Sure.
But it's totally in a different direction. People are like more like eco-friendly and all that stuff. But I think that there's a misconception. A motorcycle is not a big polluter.
No.
I mean, the amount of fuel that you use is like minuscule compared to a car.
Oh God, the average, right now, like today, I brought a 2020 Street Glide with 114 cubic inch motor, tons of power. Right. It gets 42 miles a gallon. I mean, how many cars do that? Your Prius, right. Your hybrids will get that, but other than that, no, they're very efficient.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, I think people think that just because it's loud, it means it's dirty or something.
Maybe,
Maybe, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but it's a shame, because that is a symbol of American freedom, and just like pedal to the metal, I guess, or whatever.
Just a cool.
Yeah,
thing.
it's just a cool thing. Everybody turns their head when they see a Harley go by.
Yep.
You can hear it, it, and it's a nice thing. You don't want to see that go. But there is a new thing, like you said, the Livewire project.
Yep.
So that's an electric bike. Can you tell us a little bit about that? That's this year, right?
Yes, it's the official release date was August. I think we're supposed to get our first one in this week. So this will be my first time actually seeing one in person.
That's big.
Which is I can't wait. They've been talking about this for 5 years. It's been in development.
Mm-hmm.
What I do know about it, I know it does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds.
Ridiculous,
which is absolutely insane.
That's crazy. I mean, you need some safety wheels on the back,
right? Wheelie bars just to keep the front end down. I was telling a guy that was in a few weeks ago, and I told him the 0 to 60 time, and he goes, "That's faster than my Dodge Viper." I'm like, yep,
it's insane. Yeah,
that's going to be ludicrous. The range, everything I've heard is anywhere from 100 to 150 miles on a charge. It's got different traction control options in a sport mode and different kinds of stuff. And the thing I really want to hear, and this goes it's a little anti-Harley for the traditionalist, but the bike itself sounds like a jet engine when it goes. There's no motor. I mean, it's all electric, but everything I've seen and heard on YouTube stuff, I mean, this thing just sounds like a screaming jet engine as it goes by. So I can't wait to actually hear that in real life.
I wonder how they did that, because it's just magnets.
That's all it is, so I don't really know. I do know I was on an electric bicycle. There's a video on me on City Limits website when he's going in circles. And that thing, same thing. I don't know if there's not a drive gear, so I don't know what it is, but it makes that high pitched noise as you're whipping around the frickin'.
That's awesome though. Yeah, it's like the Jetsons.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I mean, going back to like the culture of it, I think that there is going to be kind of pushback from the older generations that it doesn't sound like a Harley. It sounds like something new. Well, maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's how you get the younger generation. I don't know.
Give them something different.
It's yet to be seen, but it's pretty safe to say that the traditional Harley isn't going anywhere anytime soon. No.
So, our beach winds will be here for a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions about Harley?
The biggest one, I remember you asked me this when we talked last week, but it's one that it's funny how stigma stays. They leak oil, they're unreliable, and they fall apart. And and I still get people that'll come in and say that. And usually when I ask the question, I'll be like, have you ridden a Harley before? I had a 1978 Ironhead. It's like, okay, in the last 40 years, it's been a while. Yes, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Really since the mid 90s and by the 2000s, the motorcycles have become so much more reliable. Just a really high quality, machine. They're not the days of old, but it's funny how something that it was 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you still hear people sit there and say, "Oh, does it leak oil? Does it, is it going to leave me stranded?" It's like, no, it's just not how it is anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's it's good to get that out. I mean, I figure that a lot of people that come in kind of have an idea what they're getting themselves into. It's not like you're going to buy a car for necessity and you're really, you're buying a Harley or you're in there inquiring about it because, you kind of have an idea what you want. So as a sales manager and somebody that deals with this on a daily basis, what are some of the biggest objections that you get, besides price or whatever, that aside?
Sure.
What are some of the buying questions? What are some of the questions that maybe you can answer now for people that potentially are interested in a Harley? What are some of the things that come up most often?
The thing, I mean, besides, of course, the price question, which is a big one, the thing that comes up is usually with the newer riders. The ones that have been riding, for a long time, they'll come in and, of course, they want to do a test ride. They're going to have questions about, for example, in 2018, they changed the frame on the Softail model. Okay. For people that have been riding Softails for a long time, they want to know about that. What's different about it. They moved the shock absorber. It's lighter. It's more nimble. The motor made it more powerful, and it's just a more refined bike. Mm-hmm. The newer riders are the ones that are a little bit more trickier. Not trickier. It's kind of the fun part because they're the ones, I say putting somebody on a Harley is like fitting somebody into a suit. Yeah. Everybody's different, which is
like off the wall a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And if you have someone that's never really done it, they have generally no idea. I've had guys 6'3", 6'4" saying that they want to be on the Sportster, and the Sportster is one of the smallest bike Harley makes. Mm. Sometimes that makes sense. I've sold them to people, but a lot of times, when you look at their height, you look at that. When they actually sit on those bikes, they go, well, maybe I should be on something different. And that's my job and my sales guy's job is to make sure that we're giving them that information. So when I do make that decision, they're making the the one that's best for them.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said it's kind of like fitting somebody, because there's different models, there's different sizes and shapes. So have you encountered something where somebody maybe is just hell-bent on something that is wrong for them and it? Yeah.
And it comes down to you guide them the best you can. You give them the information. For example, somebody, again, we'll use the Sportster example, not to pick on Sportsters. We'll use that just as a common example. Someone that's, taller, over 6 feet tall, and you fit them on a Sportster, and, you could see their knees are probably higher than they should be. You always try to, give them the other option. Yeah. This is a Softail. This is it. But some people, one thing about owning a Harley, if you don't love the way it looks and you're not looking at it when you're walking away, you probably bought the wrong bike in the first place. And
good point.
If the guy loves the bike, the guy loves the bike. Sure. For him, it's the right bike.
So. Yeah, he doesn't see what he looks like when he's on it. He just sees it when he's walking away.
Exactly.
That's funny.
I've done that before. I've taken pictures of the people on the bike and then just said it to him and go, this is what you look like.
Oh, wow.
And it goes both ways. Sometimes it works both ways. People go, yes, no, I really want that bike because they think they look badass on it. And other times they looked at it and go, oh, I didn't think I looked like that on it. And then it's like, okay, let's see something else. So yes, it can work.
That's good insight. Yeah. No, I'm sure that's an interesting thing. Yeah, definitely. So the business aspect of it, because you know your stuff. It's a different type of sale than selling cars or selling widgets. It's more of like a refined type of sale where it's it's not a high pressure thing.
Right.
But you get people from all different walks of life that come into doing sales. What would you say is your management style? Dealing with a new salesperson, how do you motivate? How do you train them? What are some of the techniques that you use to make them a good fit?
All my guys, generally speaking, the one thing I try to explain to all of them and really try to convey to them is that when somebody's coming through the front doors, you're right, it's not a car deal, so it's not a high pressure sale. The best thing you can do is to make a friend, learn about these people, talk, do they live in the area? What are they doing for fun? Why are they even here? Is it their first bike? Is it their lifelong dream to own one? Did they have one when they were in their 20s, had a kid and had to sell it? Yeah. The usual kind of, the most common things that you hear. So that's, of course, when I'm working, guys that have been doing it for 20 years, guys that started off, that's always the main thing that I try to convey to all of them is, the more, just make a friend. They're going to buy a bike. You're going to guide them to the right bike, and, everyone's going to work out. And then really with, one thing I've learned, and this took me years, I was a restaurant manager for a long, long time. Yeah. Got into this. Everybody's different. Certain people I can be this quick with and go, I need this, don't do this, bam, go. And they're great with it. That's what they expect. And that's my personality. I'm very black and white, short, straight to the point. And after years of burning myself and probably losing some good people along the way, I found out that doesn't work with everybody.
Right.
So I've had to, restructure myself. So I, know that somebody I'm going to have to go and use the 50 words where in my head, I'm like, well, I can say this in 10 words, but, give the explanation as to why this is working or this isn't working or why they're being successful or why, they're struggling and what I can do to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too many times managers, especially in sales for whatever reason, I guess, just because, I don't know, it's a instant gratification type of business. A lot of times managers they can't they feel like the script or the way it's supposed to be done is the way it's supposed to be done, and they don't realize that they're talking to human beings.
Right.
And everybody learns different, everybody retains information differently. And, to get the best results out of somebody, when you're trying to motivate, you got to be able to relate and, connect. If you can't connect to your salesperson, how are you going to expect them to connect to a customer?
Absolutely.
And how are you going to be able to help them connect to a customer if you don't even know how they connect, to you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of goes both ways. So that's an interesting thing. Now, when we were talking, how do you motivate people? What is it that you do like in-house? Like, do you have like
money? No.
Well, sure. Besides money, because, money, everybody wants it, but it's like with sales, people get burned out. People need a pat on the back every now and then. People need to, go take a smoke break or whatever it is that's going to get them to kind of reset. How do you navigate that?
So, one thing I try to do is I have a meeting every single morning. For example, if we open at 8:30, everybody meets up at the sales desk, and we kind of start our day that way. And you have your basic questions. Who do I need to call? Who do you got to call? And that kind of stuff. But more importantly, I try to just kind of like we're doing, just kind of have a casual conversation to get the day started, kind of take the edge off a little bit.
Sure.
If they're worried about, I need to close this guy, or I only got 3 bikes out and it's the 20th, or, kind of to let them think a little bit less about that, just kind of have a morning powwow, talk about what we're going to do throughout the day, but keep it as casual as I can to bring down that tension a little bit, because, any sales job we say it's low pressure, but it's a sales job. It's not,
Right.
For us, it's always high pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are commission based, or is it
it's a combo. Yeah. There's some money there, but of
so
course,
it's not high pressure. It's not like super, super like breathing down their neck when somebody comes in.
It is, because they can't live on, in order to make a living. Yes, they got to sell.
Okay.
We all have to sell. That's that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's our job.
So, it's I guess anybody knows if they're going to buy something, especially, something like a Harley or a car or a boat or whatever, you're talking to somebody that does have a motive, but it's different because I think that with Harleys, like you say, it's more of a destination, and, there's questions to be asked, and that you're kind of you're in a friendly atmosphere because you guys are riders as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have, is everybody a rider that sells a Harley?
In a perfect world, yes. No, there. Currently, I could say right now, everybody on my team owns and rides a Harley.
At Palatine.
At Palatine, yes.
Yeah.
In my whole sales team, we're all riders. We all have our M class. We all have motorcycles. I have in the past worked with people that came from a sales background and didn't have, in some cases, no motorcycle riding experience whatsoever. It's a mixed bag.
That's gotta be rough.
It is for it is for them, because it's
you don't know
how do you make that relationship and
Right.
talk to somebody about a motorcycle. It's something that in some cases
Yeah.
you're not only you've never been on, you're intimidated by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't, maybe they signed up for the wrong place, when they did that.
Yeah, and that's usually what it ends up coming out to be. I mean, some people, they interview well enough or whatever, and you kind
got to
of
give them a shot.
Absolutely, because you know what, you don't want to. If somebody does have sales experience, you could be missing out on a great opportunity because of their circumstances. Maybe they never had the opportunity right in the past, but they want to. So,
right.
But it's in the times I've seen, it's been a very mixed bag.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so I mean, this is good stuff. So you have this event coming up on the 26th here, the burger tasting and the beer.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Wicked Burger Bash.
Wicked Burger Bash.
Yeah.
And what time is that?
That's going to be from noon to 5 on October 26th. Let's see if I can list up all the restaurants. Alley 64 in Palatine, Burger Antics, Assembly, Lodi Tap House. I'm putting too much pressure on myself. Reps and Rolling Meadows.
We're here.
We're here right now.
Reps right
Mike,
now.
I didn't forget. Burger Antics, Lodi, and Frank's Originals in Lake Geneva.
Beautiful.
Those will be the 6 competitors.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna put the information about that event in the description below. And how can people find you?
CityLimitsHD.com is a great way to do it. I'm at City Limits Harley Davidson. Wednesday through Monday. We're closed on Tuesday for 1 hours, but other than that, I'm there just about every single day.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on. Good talk. If anybody's in the market for something awesome to ride, definitely check them out.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep.